If you would have asked me 6 months ago, could I see myself now, 25 years old, unemployed, living in Bangkok, Thailand, do you think I would have seen myself here? No, I would not have. I would not have. Every day, honestly, is a step of faith. Every day that I wake up and thank the Lord, I'm stepping out on faith. I'm taking a risk. I'm betting on myself. And that is honestly it's scary. It's scary. If anybody tells you that it's not scary, it is, because I'm putting trust in the Lord that, you know, his plan is bigger than anything that I could ever plan for myself. So you gotta have faith. Good morning, guys. So today's video is going to be all about me. YouTube, say hi to my TikTok live. So I got this video idea because I go live on TikTok every day, and I get a lot of the same questions every day when new people join my lives. So I wanted to give you guys the story on my life and how I just ended up where I am now. So we're going to take it back all the way to 2017. In 2017, I was a freshman, sophomore, junior. I was a junior in high school. So it was the year before I was about to graduate high school. I had the opportunity to go on a service learning trip to Nicaragua because I was part of this class where we did like little community service acts around the community. So by doing that class at the end of the, not even at the end, it was like halfway through the school year, and they told us that they had a service learning trip, but that they could only take, I think, 10 of the students. And my class was like 25, 30 of us, but they could take 10 of us. So I signed up and I got it. They ended up picking me to go on the trip. Fully covered, fully funded trip to Nicaragua. Mind you, at 17, I didn't have a passport. I had been on an airplane before when I was little, but in my teenage years, I hadn't been on a plane. Like, there was a lot of things that I just haven't had done at that point. So they had bought me my first passport. They bought me the flight, and I went. I went to Nicaragua for 2 weeks, me and 9 other of my classmates. And we built a school in like this small village. So it was like a very different experience. I lived with a host family, me and this other girl. We lived with the host family. The house really wasn't a house. It was like a little wooden shack, and we had air mattresses. We slept on the floor on air mattresses, and we had like the nets around the air mattress, for the bugs. It was for the bugs. We had like nets around the air mattress, and we had to shower outside. Like every morning I had to like get water and boil the water. And then I was lazy, so I just did like bird baths, but like other people did like more extensive stuff where they was pouring the buckets of water on their head and stuff. For me, I felt like that was wasting time and water. Because mind you, before we did anything, we had to boil the water. And I'm like, y'all could just do a little simple bird bath. So I took bird baths for 2 weeks. That worked for me. But yeah. And that experience really like opened my eyes, because I was in Nicaragua in this small, like, remote village. We didn't have no phones, no nothing for 2 weeks, no shower, I didn't even tell y'all about the bathroom. Y'all, the bathroom was like a little hut, and it just had like a hole in the ground. I don't know like how deep the hole was, but like you wouldn't want to fall in there. When you look, it's just like a deep hole in the ground. So that was the bathroom for 2 weeks, and y'all already heard the shower situation. But like, just living there for 2 weeks with my host family. My host family, they had, I forget their names, but I still have the son on Instagram. We be talking. It was like a mom and a dad, and they had 2 sons. And then it was, they had 2 sons and a daughter. It was 3 of them, but the daughter didn't live there. And it's crazy. The daughter was my age. The daughter was 17, and she had 2 kids already. She had 1 kid, and then she was pregnant with another kid. that was a whole nother drama that we'll talk about later. But yeah, so I lived with the host family for 2 weeks, and mind you, they did not live in the best conditions at all. But when I tell you, they were the happiest people that I ever met. They never complained about anything. And really just like going back to America after spending the 2 weeks in Nicaragua, that really like opened my eyes to like how people live in other countries and how fortunate I was to like be in America, have a home, be able to get up and go to a school every day for free, you know. So that was that. So I got back to America. I graduated from high school. Then I went on to college. I went to university. I did my first like 2 years. And then again, junior year is always very pivotal for me. So junior year, I had the opportunity. Oh, wait, no. Let's backtrack. Sophomore year, COVID hit when I was in undergrad. We had, you know, I lived on campus. We all had to go back home. And then junior year, it was weird. Junior year at my school, the dorms opened back up, but classes were still online. I think that was just the university's way of trying to make a little bit of money, because why do you need to be on campus if there's no classes? I guess that's for people that really hated their parents and wanted to just get away. But my mom's cool, so I didn't really have that issue. But back to the story. Junior year, they ended up opening back up study abroad. And one of my mentors actually presented the opportunity to me to study abroad. And like, honestly, like my background, where I came from, I grew up in a one-parent household, low income. My mom was on Section 8 and food stamps. So I never thought about like studying abroad. I'm like, okay, that's for the white kids. If I tell my mom I want to study abroad, she gonna look at me like I have 10 heads, you know? So honestly, it was never in my mind. But then that year, junior year, when I was talking to my mentor about it and she presented the opportunity for me, she was telling me that because of COVID, there was a decline in study abroad. A lot of people was scared to travel. So a lot of the study abroad programs were offering discounts on the programs. And at that time, I went to like a state school. You know, my EFC was 0, so I got the biggest Pell Grant and stuff. My financial aid package was pretty good. So I got a lot in financial aid. So she was telling me that the study abroad packages were like cheaper than actual tuition to stay on campus. So I was like, that's weird. And she was like, yeah, let's look into it. So we scheduled a meeting with the study abroad advisor. I went and we were looking at the programs, y'all. They were having study abroad programs for like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. Like that is so cheap. Mind you, a semester living on campus with a meal plan with health insurance will run you about $15,000 to $20,000 at a state school. Or I could study abroad for $7,000. So obviously it's like, wait, all right, we about to look into this study abroad thing, because now the vision isn't seeming so far anymore. It's actually seeming like I could be able to do this. So I went home, I talked to my mom about it. She was like, yeah, just tell me the numbers. My mom didn't really care about the details. She's like, what's the numbers? How much you need out of me? So, you know, I had to do all the footwork because my mom was just working. She had so many other things to worry about. She couldn't really focus on that. So it was really me, my mentor, and the study abroad advisor. Like, we found the cheapest program that, like, you know, provided food. We didn't find one that provided flights. But, you know, I was working full time at Chipotle. I was working 4 to midnight every day. So I was like, I could cover my own flight. So we ended up finding a program. I applied for the program. They helped me write out like my statement or whatever about why I wanted to study abroad. And I applied and I got in. And then they had so many other scholarships too. I was applying for everything. So I applied for some scholarships and stuff. I ended up getting the scholarships too, on top of my financial aid package, because the way that it worked for study abroad, when you're using the government funding, basically like they just gave me my whole financial aid package. Like, it went straight to my bank account. It didn't go to the school at all. So like I had ended up getting like $15,000 from the government, like straight to my bank account. Like, if I didn't have discipline, study abroad would not have happened. I would have took that $15K and ran off on the government. But I was like, you know, we're going to be disciplined. We're going to do this. I ended up paying. I had to do my study abroad payment plan. I had to do payment plans for the study abroad because with the financial aid package, they don't disperse it all to you at once. I would get like Pell Grant here, something else there, something else there. A scholarship will come like 1 month. But it was cool because, like I said, I was on the payment plan, so you didn't have to pay it all at once. I think I only needed to put down like $2,000 to like go to my first location. Because the study abroad program that I ended up choosing, it was called CIEE, and every 6 weeks you go to a new place. So I was in a cohort of like maybe like 50 students from all over the world. Like, we weren't even just from America, they were from all over the world. And the program that I picked, we went to Copenhagen, Denmark for 6 weeks. Then I went to Rome, Italy for 6 weeks. Then I went to London, England for the last 6 weeks. Yeah. So in a nutshell, I ended up studying abroad. That was cool. I loved it. It was the best experience of my life. Honestly, it was just reminding me a lot of when I was building the school in Nicaragua in high school. I was like, all right, now I'm seeing new places, I'm meeting new things, I'm seeing how new people live. It was cool. Then I went back to school to do my senior year in college. I graduated with my undergrad, and then when I had graduated, I was working at a hospital. I was working in a psychiatric unit at a hospital. And mind you, I was making like $40 an hour. Nobody believes me when I tell them this. They be thinking I'm lying, but I swear, for like 3 years, I made $40 an hour working at the hospital. And that was like the most money I had ever made in my life. Like, I was in a good place. I had a car. I was living with my mom, no bills. Like, my only bill was like my car insurance. Like, it was cool. So and mind you, I was still in school as well, finishing my senior year. So I had graduated and I'm still at the hospital, but I'm like, okay, I just took out all these loans to get a bachelor's degree. Let's put the degree to use. So I started like looking at corporate jobs and applying to corporate jobs. But a lot of the corporate jobs that I was finding, either one, they was not paying, or two, like, I don't know, they wanted you to come already with like 2 or 3 years experience. I'm like, I'm a new grad. How do you already want 2 or 3 years experience? That doesn't make sense. Or like a lot of the corporate jobs that I was finding, they wanted you to do like a 2-year internship first, and then you would be guaranteed a seat with the company. And I'm just like, I already did internships when I was in undergrad. I literally did a whole internship when I was in London working for a company. Like, this doesn't count, but a lot of the companies, they wasn't counting it as, I guess, like, credible. So that's why I be telling people, lie on your resume. Like, just lie on the resume. But that's another story. But yeah, so basically, the corporate jobs that I was interviewing with, they wasn't really seeming appealing. I don't know. Nothing was trumping my $40 an hour at the hospital. So nothing was like really moving me to like leave the hospital. And I was just working at the hospital still with people that, mind you, the job that I had at the hospital in the psych unit, you don't need a degree for that job. I was working jobs with people that only had a high school diploma. And it was just like really playing like games on my mental. Like, did I just go and do a whole 4.5 years because of COVID, honestly? Did I just do a whole 4.5, 5 years of undergrad to work jobs with people that don't even have a college degree? So it was just on my mind a lot, and I was just kind of like spiraling, going into like a depression. And I ended up talking to my advisor from college. It was so random. She had like just checked up on me one day, and I was expressing my feelings to her, telling her about how I was feeling. And then I was telling her, she asked me like, what was the last thing you did where like you felt like yourself? I'm messing up the question, but it was something along like the lines of that. Like, what was the last time that like you felt like yourself? And I told her, like, honestly, when I was studying abroad, like, I felt like that was the time where like I felt the best about myself. I looked the best. I was doing things, like I actually felt productive. So she was like, have you ever thought about going abroad again? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to, but like, how? I can't go abroad with no job, no money. Like, you know, how would I make that happen? I want to make that a reality. So we ended up looking into my the program that I ended up studying abroad with when I was in college. So ironically, they ended up having a teach abroad program for the graduates. So I applied for the teach abroad program. And it's crazy because if you are a alumni, if you are an alumni of the program, it was easier to get in. So, I was already an alumni because I already did the study abroad program when I was in undergrad. So I applied for the teach abroad program. Literally, y'all, like the next day, they called me. And I was in. I was like, what the hell? But yeah, so literally it all just aligned. I was supposed to go to Madrid, Spain to teach English. I had all my documents. Everything was like perfect. It literally was like my dream come true in the snap of a finger. And then literally in that snap of a finger, another snap of a finger happened. And basically I got an email saying that the Spanish government said that they had too many foreign teachers for that semester and that I was going to have to wait until the next year to go teach English in Spain. Mind you, at this point, I done put in my 2 weeks at the hospital. I don't know, I got a big mouth. I done told all my family and friends that I was leaving Boston. It was like too much on the line. I was like, I'm just going to be embarrassed now if I don't go somewhere. So I was like, we got to make something shake. So I was talking to my, I don't know what to call them, the person that was handling all my business, all my paperwork and stuff with the teach abroad. So I'm talking to him and I'm like, is that my only option? Is there somewhere else I could go, something else that I can do? And then he was like, yeah, we actually have the same teaching opportunity available in Bangkok, Thailand, if you're open to change and to switching. And mind you, Bangkok is way further than Spain. I'm like, I don't know. My mind was kind of dead set on Spain. I wanted to go to Spain because that was the only country that I didn't get to go to when I studied abroad. When I studied abroad, I was outside. I went on a trip every weekend. I went to every European country except Spain in my 6 weeks in Europe. So I still haven't been to Spain yet. I will go, but I still haven't been to Spain. So I was like, oh, it's perfect. I could just teach abroad in Spain. So that was really my motive for wanting to go to Spain. But that fell through. He was like, we have Bangkok available. So I was like, okay, give me a day or something. I gotta pray on it. We gotta see. So I did what any person would do. I went on TikTok University. I went on YouTube University. And I watched tons of videos about teaching English in Thailand. And then there was this girl that I ended up really liking her content. I watched her. Her name was Justice Maxwell. It's crazy. She had an ebook. I bought her ebook and everything. And it's so crazy because she don't even live in Thailand no more. She's back in England. But yeah, Justice Maxwell. She's the one that really influenced me. She was posting vlogs on YouTube every week about her experience. She had an ebook. I supported her. I bought her ebook, everything. And I was like, you know what? I don't think Thailand would be that bad. So within a week, I was in Thailand. It literally happened so fast. And I always tell people that was literally God's plan. That was not my plan because my plan was to be in Madrid, Spain. My plan was not to be in Bangkok, Thailand. But you see how the Lord moves. He did his thing and I ended up here in Thailand. So yeah, that was it. So after that, I came with the agency. Mind you, I was with the agency that I had studied abroad with. I came with them to Thailand for the teach abroad. They picked me up from the airport. Literally, I landed on a Friday. I started work on Monday. I didn't have no downtime. No downtime, y'all. They picked me up. I think the next day they took me to go look at 4 condos. My coordinator took me to go look at 4 condos. I picked the condo that I liked, went to the ATM, took out my 3 months rent. Boom. Then he had took me to Lotus, which I made the video on. That's the Walmart of Thailand. I bought all my bedding, my towels, my soaps, my lotions. I bought everything and they helped me move into my first apartment here. So that's why I do recommend the agencies, if you want that extra support when moving to Thailand, because, they took me on the condo tours. They took me to the stores to get everything that I needed. Yo, okay, so when you move to Thailand, to get Wi-Fi, you have to have a work permit and stuff. And I didn't have none of that yet. I was only here 48 hours. Y'all, my coordinator put my Wi-Fi in his name. He got Wi-Fi in his name for me. And they took it out of his bank account every month. And I just would pay him the cash. He's a real one for that. He's a real one for that. But yeah, so I do recommend the agency if you want that extra support bubble. But yeah, so I worked with the agency at a government Thai school for about 6 months. It was okay. I personally, now when I look back and I've taught at other schools now, I don't really favor that experience. It was me, just one teacher with about 50 kids. It was very overwhelming. And yeah, and a situation ended up happening where two of the boys in my class started fighting, and one of the other boys stabbed the other boy. He had to get rushed to the hospital and get surgery on his eye. So after that day, that was my last day teaching at that school. I got the hell out of there. And then I ended up, it's crazy how it happened, because ironically, the day before, I had an interview already on Zoom with a new school, because I was already like in the process of looking for new jobs. And then the next day, that situation happened, and that literally solidified it for me that I need to get out of that school. So I left that school, and the next day I got the job at the international school, where I was working for like 6 or 7 months. I really liked the international school. It was very small, intimate classes. It was like one teacher to like 10 kids. You could actually focus on the kids and their learning and track each kid's progress and learn everybody's name. When I was at the government high school, I had a different set of 50 kids every hour. I did not know who anybody was, like for real, for real. But at the international school, you can actually build a rapport with your students, get to learn their names, what they like, what they don't like, and figure out the best learning techniques for them. So yeah. And then recently at the international school, my contract was until March 31st, my fault. And then literally on March 30th, my boss calls me and tells me that they're not renewing my contract for the next school year. So that was like so unexpected to me. I don't know. In my mind, I just had the expectation that like they would renew the contract for the next school year, but they didn't end up renewing the contract for the next school year. So then I was just left stuck and lost for like a week or two. But then, you know, I prayed about it. I talked to the Lord, and I decided that I'm going to do content creation full time. And that is what I have been doing now for the past 2 months. For the past 2 months. And that in itself has been a journey, but I've honestly just been taking it day by day, figuring out what works for me, what doesn't work for me. And yeah, and that is where we end up today. 25, unemployed, living in Bangkok, Thailand. Yeah. If you would have asked me 6 months ago, could I see myself now, 25 years old, unemployed, living in Bangkok, Thailand, do you think I would have seen myself here? No, I would not have. I would not have. Every day, honestly, is a step of faith. Every day that I wake up and thank the Lord, I'm stepping out on faith. I'm taking a risk. I'm betting on myself. And that is honestly it's scary. It's scary. If anybody tells you that it's not scary, it is, because I'm putting trust in the Lord that, you know, his plan is bigger than anything that I could ever plan for myself. So you gotta have faith. You gotta have faith, at least the size of a mustard seed. But honestly, guys, travel has changed my life. It's really opened up my eyes, expanded my heart, and gave me the kind of freedom that I honestly didn't know that I needed. I used to think like traveling was only for like wealthy people or people that had their life all together. But the truth is, it really does not take an arm and a leg to travel. It takes courage, it takes intention, and believing that you're worthy of experiencing life outside of wherever you were born. And I just want to say to anybody out there, I am living proof that you do not have to wait for the perfect time. There's no such thing as the perfect time to do anything. You don't have to have a big bank account to start. All you need to have is faith, the size of a mustard seed, and the willingness to take a risk and bet on yourself and believe that you can do whatever this life has to offer you. So this right now is your sign. The world is so much bigger than whatever fear is instilling in you to believe. Don't let money, doubt, worry, or fear stop you from leaving your comfort zone and seeing the world. So now that you guys have heard my story, honestly, take it from me, a girl that grew up in a small inner city on Section 8, mom was on food stamps, you know, my dad was not present in the home in the earlier stages of my life. You know, I had all the barriers were put against me. Every factor was put against me. I was supposed to end up a statistic, but I bet against myself. And that's the difference between me and other people. I wasn't afraid to leave my comfort zone. So don't let your comfort zone be your point of failure. Leave your comfort zone and explore the world. Love you guys. Bye. Is it gonna end?